Good morning, everybody.
To worry about.
Yeah, I understand. It's a new year. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the January 11th, 2022, first meeting of the new year. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to start off our meeting this morning with our invocation from Pastor Chad Fair. Good morning. If you'd all please rise, and that will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
And Happy New Year.
Morning.
A quote from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love." Let us pray. God of love and justice, we give you thanks for those called to serve and lead in our community. Wrap them in wisdom that they may make decisions that are both just and loving. Heal the division that exists in our world and draw us back to a spirit of civility and peace. We humbly ask this in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all.
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this morning we have two additional items on consent. We have item consent number 14, Florida Inland Navigation District Grant Extension Agreement for Phipps Park. We also have item 12, which has also been pulled. We'll take that up first when we get on the agenda by Commissioner Hurd, and that is the approval of the Sovereignty Submerged Lands Fee Waived Lease SSL with the Board of Trustees and the Internal Improvement Trust Fund of the State of Florida for the Manatee Pocket Mooring Field and Dinghy Dock. We do have I guess it's an additional or a proclamation this morning that does also need to be adopted with the agenda. So if the motion could reflect the approval of the proclamation, which is adopt and present proclamation for the celebration of the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, that would be great in the motion.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would make a motion that we approve the agenda with the additional item consent 14, consent poll number 12, and approving proclamation number 1.
Second.
Fantastic. We have a motion. We have a second. Commissioner Jenkins is not with us today, so all the motions will be for something or three something or whatever, but all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously with Commissioner Jenkins absent. Let's take up the proclamation first.
Good morning. First up today, we have a proclamation celebrating the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in Martin County, Florida. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a visionary whose courage and determination to balance the scales of social justice changed the world forever. January 17th, 2022 is recognized as a day of community, unity, and partnership. The board joins civic groups throughout Martin County in celebrating the life of Dr. King and in encouraging citizens to participate in activities honoring his legacy. And I think we will have to accept on Ms. Dooley's behalf. She is not here this morning.
Okay.
And we'll make sure she gets it.
Okay, we will do that, and we'll also pass this around to get signatures. Donna, if you can grab me a pen or something.
Right. Use this pen.
Start with that. That would be great. Do you want to wait on that until Commissioner Jenkins gets back? Because his.
No, I need to sign both of them, please. Okay. I got a pen here.
Donna, what do you do if there's a commissioner absent on Zoom?
I can't send it to the clerk's office until everybody signs it.
Okay, he's in later this week.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, next item on the agenda, because we did adopt that during the adoption of the agenda. We have a couple of public speakers this morning. First on our list is Ms. Van Vano.
First speaker of the year.
First speaker of the year.
Right.
How special is that?
Yes.
I guess.
Good morning, everyone. Nikki Van Vano, for the record. I just came because I saw on the agenda that Ms. Krista, after a long and a wonderful career, has announced her retirement. And I could not let this moment go by without bringing her a present. It is Christmas ornaments, of course. So it's a little behind, but I just wanted to just praise her to the heavens. She's been a true public servant for our county
Thank you.
for many, many years. And she has served us all in good stead. And I know that Mr. Donaldson will do a fine job following in her footsteps, but I just wanted to say thank you publicly to Taryn
Thank you, Nikki.
and give her a present.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nikki. Happy New Year.
That's a good way to start the year.
That's a nice way. That's assuming that we let her go. Next speaker we have this morning is Miss Amy Pritchett. That's the last public speaker form I have this morning. If anybody else would like to address the board, please fill out one of these forms and get it to the bailiff. Good morning. Amy.
Good morning and Happy New Year to everyone,
Year.
and good luck on your retirement.
Thank you.
It was a nice little way to start the meeting.
Yeah.
I come to all of you because we have a very serious issue in our neighborhood in Rocky Point. In addition to the excessive speeds, we now also have a problem in Maggie's Hammock. The district funds recently purchased additional land there for $450,000. And when I walked in there, I saw needles, I saw human and dog feces, and I don't mean to be dramatic, but at a minimum, a camera in there, something, because people are going in there that I don't think are in our neighborhood, and they're dumping in our beautiful little park. It's a beautiful little park. And I really don't appreciate seeing needles, and I don't appreciate seeing people's garbage. I go in there with my dog, I have my bags, I pick up after myself and him. I don't abuse it, and our neighbors don't. I don't know who's coming in there, but it's pretty bad. And I want to bring it to your attention because I don't think it's going to get better. I think it's going to get worse as the park expands. More park, more people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pritchett. Sure, park staff is listening to that, and I'm sure we will look into it.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else from the public wish to address this at the time? Seeing none, back to the board. Commissioner Heatherington, you have anything this morning?
Oh, I have a couple things. Number one, I want to announce that we, the county, in conjunction with the Martin County Community Action Coalition and All About Achieving, the school district, Elevate Hope, and the library system are having an anti-vaping media challenge. So teens are eligible, all teens in Martin County, to put together a 30-second video, submit them, and there are cash prizes at the end. It's part of our efforts to reduce vaping in Martin County. It's a great and out-of-the-box thinking, and I thank All About Achieving and Tina McSorley and all of our partners for this. And you can find more information and the video rules on our Martin County webpage, or you can follow on Instagram Martin County CAC, which is the Community Action Coalition. So that deadline to have your video submissions in is January 21st. So that's exciting. And then I also want to announce the new dates of Honor Flight. I was able to go on Honor Flight in November. It was the experience of a lifetime. We've talked a lot about the experience up here. They do have some upcoming dates. You can go on their website to register as a guardian. You actually will accompany a veteran, either World War II, Korean, or Vietnam era veteran, to Washington, D.C. Those dates are April 9th and May 21st, and you can go on HonorFlight southeastflorida.org to sign up as a guardian. And those are my two announcements for today.
Fantastic, thank you. Commissioner Campy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First meeting of the year, I'd like to start off by wishing everyone a 2022 filled with health, happiness, and prosperity, and I put health first. 2020 was an interesting year, 2021 turned into an interesting year, and 2022 is off to a start as well from a medical point of view. Our numbers are increasing positivity-wise. The good news, I guess, the silver lining of a darker cloud is the fact that the symptoms that people that have tested positive are not as dramatic. There's a multitude of reasons. For those that feel a vaccination is appropriate, terrific. People that are trying other things, trying to be more healthy, trying to have a different type of more cautious lifestyle in terms of illness. Remember, flu and colds are out there. I have some family members that had very, very difficult flu or cold symptoms. It was not COVID. But so those other ailments didn't disappear. But I know that even during the height of the original beginning of the pandemic, it didn't seem that a lot of us knew a tremendous amount of people. But now I know lots and lots of people that have tested positive. I drove past the fairgrounds on my way here, and the line, double line of cars was well off the property and backed up onto the road. So people are concerned, they're testing. I know that there's pandemic fatigue and people get tired of trying to, take these precautions, but I do know a couple of people that did test positive and then eventually got pneumonia as well and were very deathly ill. Now, thankfully, someone who's very close to me recovered from the initial real low point of the illness, but have not completely recovered, but spent 2 weeks in the hospital. And I know it changed them emotionally and mentally, so it's something to be considered and serious. So I wish you a year of health. Secondly, I'd like to recognize the passing of a Martin County pillar, Dr. David Anderson. So important to our community. There's a middle school named after him, but he was on the school board for 3 decades. He was a teacher. He was a professor. His family has deep, deep roots, wide roots in our community. And I just wanted to send on our behalf, if that's okay, our condolences to his family and his colleagues. He made obviously a very lasting impression in our community, and we will mourn his loss, and his family is in our prayers. And finally, I did mention this to some of our staff. I've received a couple of different calls periodically over the last year or so from constituents, not in my own district, but that had very strong concerns about a salvage recycling operation that's happening in Stewart. A couple of residents had mentioned it to me, a couple of local businesses had mentioned it to me, and then I didn't hear any more about it. So I had assumed that it had resolved itself, and I understand that it has not resolved itself, and I would just ask our staff and my colleagues if this is something, since obviously the 5 of us are not allowed to speak outside of this meeting. I only know what I hear about the issue. I know that some of it involves the city of Stewart, and there's litigation potentially here as well. But if we can have a conversation and sort of find out what the history is there and what our options are there, I think it could bring to a close litigation. And I'd just like to hear more about it and hear from my colleagues.
Pause you there for a second.
Sure.
Sarah, for a minute.
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Sarah Woods, County Attorney. We have ongoing litigation right now concerning this matter. What I'd request, I hear the request, but I would request being able to consult. My office is handling the litigation in-house, and I'd request an ability to at least look at the communications as well as to evaluate it in light of where we are currently in our lawsuit. And then, of course, we'll be happy to report back to you either individually or collectively. But I want to caution the board not out of an ability of not wanting to inform the public and the board members, but because we have litigation and we want to be cautious about what we comment publicly since it's currently before a judge. Thank you.
I appreciate that. And to be clear, I wasn't looking to tread in an area that we weren't supposed to. I had just spoken to a couple of different constituents and said that I would at least bring the matter up. And so I appreciate that very much. And I wish my colleagues, I will commit to a year of congeniality and collegiality.
Nice.
Yes, and that the full year. Yeah, we'll do it on an annual basis. But to try to work, I think last year, I think overall we did very well as a group. I think our constituents expect that of us. It sets a great example, and so I pledge to work as best I can with my 4 colleagues, and of course the staff.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Byrd.
Yes, special best wishes from me for a happy and healthy new year. And Commissioner Campy, you bring up a very good point about testing. That's one of the real obstacles to Omicron infections is testing, the availability of testing. And I drive by the fairgrounds every day and see the cars lined up all through the fairgrounds. You also can get tested 7 days a week for free at our health department. You make an appointment online. There are all kinds of appointments that are available. There's no waiting, and it's free. You do your own nasal swab, so please take advantage of the Department of Health's free screening also. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other than, as the others have said, I hope that we have a great, prosperous new year. We have a lot coming towards us, I think, in terms of items coming up in the future, so I expect it to be busy, certainly in the near term. But with that, hopefully things are moving along, and we look forward to a very good new year. First item on the agenda for discuss, I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Oh, I don't have anything.
Ms. Chris, do you have anything?
Nope.
Sarah, anything this morning? Sorry. First item on the agenda this morning will be the consent pull, which was item 12, approval of the new sovereignty submerged lands fee waived lease. This is Patrick. Good morning.
I pulled this. This is a project that we've been looking forward to for years. It's going to be a wonderful project with 2 mooring fields in the Manatee Pocket, which is the best hurricane hole in Martin County. And it's wonderful that we're finally going to be able to start, we're designing, now we're going to starting construction. So I'm thrilled that this project is underway.
Yes, Commissioner, for the record, Kathy Fitzpatrick, coastal engineer. Just to give you a brief update, as you all know, we've obtained over $1 million in grant funding. The project is budgeted right now, albeit it was with an estimate in the before times, but at $1.3 million. We have developed and worked with our purchasing department to develop what is, as you know, a very specialty type of advertisement, because we want to try to manage this as a public-private partnership. I've met with our county attorney, and we're going to be working with their office to make sure that we develop a likewise specialty contract that can be associated with that. And once we get those kinks worked out, we will be advertising for the public-private partnership. We'll also be improving the dock that's out there right now, so that we can avoid having any impacts to areas where people tie up their boats right now when they go to the pocket, but then also adding in areas for dinghies to moor when they come in from the mooring fields. So we're really looking forward to this. It's been a while in coming, and it will also solve a problem that I think we're all pretty aware of. We've all had complaints from people because due to the thickness of the muck deposit out there, boats can't really anchor securely. So when we get the really, really big storms, those boats go wherever they want to, and it usually ends up into somebody else's property. So we're looking forward to being able to deal with all those things.
And how many mooring buoys do we anticipate?
There'll be 42, most of them you can kind of envision it if you know what the channel looks like out there, and the majority of them will be in that larger area. But then I think there's maybe 8 or 10 in the back part there, so, yes.
Very exciting. Thank you.
Thank you.
And on another positive note,
Yes, sir.
the Jensen Beach mooring field is filling up.
Yes.
It seems to be working just fine. I went out the other day. The new dock that replaced the very not good old dock, or the new old dock, is a significant improvement to the old facility. So ended up talking to a couple that was moored out there, and they were very happy with the facility and super happy with the dock and also. So great job on all of that, getting that all put back together. And with that, if you want.
Move
a
approval.
motion.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Anybody from the public on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jenkins absent. Ms. Fitzpatrick, thank you. Okay, that was the consent item. Next item on the agenda Community Redevelopment Agency's Chair and Vice Chair designations. Ms. Corrs, good morning.
Good morning, Susan Corrs, Manager, Office of Community Development. We're here this morning to, as we do annually, designate our chair and vice chair for the CRA board. I believe that you have the nominees, if you will. Does anyone have any questions?
Do you have a, I'm sorry,
No, I don't have
do you have a recommendation other than moving
We,
Catherine Winters up to chair?
yeah, we usually each year move the vice chair to the chair position, and thus rotating our members, so they each get a time as chair. And I would recommend Mike Redling because he's been on the board for, I think, 3 or 4 years to serve as vice chair.
Okay.
Is there any
Any other-
discussion?
it's up
I
to you all.
move that we appoint Mike Redling Vice Chair and Catherine Winters Chair of the CRA.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any public wish to comment on this item? Hearing none. Anything further, Ms. Corrs?
That's it, thank you.
That's it. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All is opposed, motion carries 4-2, unanimously rather, with Commissioner Jenkins absent.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. Okay, next item. I hope so. Next item is Administration, Department 1, Office Management and Budget items which require board approval. Ms. Manning, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Manning, Director of OMB. I have 5 items on the agenda today, and the first one is permission to accept the Spencer Educational Foundation grant in the amount of $7,500, and it gives the young professionals an opportunity to learn risk management and under the governmental side. Second item is permission to accept the FDOT grant for the design and construction of Taxi Lane B. It is a grant award of $1 million. 80% will be covered by FDOT and the other 20% by airport funds. Third item is permission to accept the transportation grant agreement for FY22 for the public transit block grant. It is in the amount of $405,119, and this provides funding for the MARTI bus, which is the Martin County Public Bus Service, and it also gives complimentary rides for the ADA disabilities. Fourth item is permission to accept the amendment for FDOT Phase 3 of the Airport Operations Center and Airfield Electrical Vault. This is in the amount of $1.3 million. It requires 20% match, which is $265,000, and the funds are coming from the airport. The final item is permission to approve a budget resolution to allocate funds for the MPO, which is required through Florida statute. It's a proportionate share that is allocated to the service in the amount of $210,532. And that concludes my presentation.
Commissioners?
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Anybody from the public wish to comment? Hearing none, back to the board. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All is opposed. Motion carries unanimously with Commissioner Jenkins absent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next item is Department 2, contracts that meet the threshold for the board approval of $1 million or greater. Ms. Brotherton,
Morning.
how are you this morning?
Christy Brotherton, Purchasing Manager. The first item for your consideration today is the Airport Operations Center and Airfield Electrical Vault rebid. Staff is recommending that the board award the contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which is McTeague Construction, in the amount of $3,698,900, and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute any and all documents related to this request. Next, we have our continuing services contract for temporary employment services. This contract has a maximum not to exceed value of $15 million with a maximum not to exceed term of 5 years. Staff is recommending that the board award the contract to Resource Government Services, LLC, and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute any and all documents related to this request. Next up, we have another continuing services contract for the American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA, the Economic Development Projects for Martin County. This has a maximum not to exceed contract value of $4 million with a maximum not to exceed term of 5 years. Staff is recommending that the board award the contract to the two highest scoring firms, which is GAI Consultants and Business Flair. Move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute any and all documents related to this request. And last, we have a continuing services contract for our security and access control service, equipment and installation. This has a maximum not to exceed contract value of $10 million and a maximum not to exceed contract term of 5 years. And staff is recommending that the board award the contract to Securitas Electronic Security Incorporated and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute any and all documents related to this request. And that concludes this item.
Great, Christie, thank you. Commissioners, any questions?
Motion to accept staff's recommendations.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Anybody from the public wish to comment on any of these items? Hearing none, back to the board. We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously with Commissioner Jenkins being absent. And the last item on the agenda today, and we'll see how long we can stretch this out. Probably my least favorite agenda item, probably in my time here.
Well, it's, it was one of those things that I figured.
Is that where you just want to jump right in and cut me
Yes.
off so I couldn't say any more?
No, go right.
I have 45 minutes worth of comments, so it's perfect.
So the next item on the agenda before Ms. Krista gets to cut us off is the county administrator is providing notice of intent to voluntarily resign and retire from the position of county administrator to the Martin County Board of County Commissioners. Ms. Krista.
Thank you, Commissioners. So this agenda is one of your shortest agendas for the new year. Don't get used to it because I don't anticipate that being the same as we move forward. But I just felt that given the fact that I'm in DROP and
Can you explain what DROP is?
DROP is called Deferred Retirement Option Program, I think. And when you're in Florida retirement system, at a certain point of your career, either 30 years or 62, you have an option to enter into what they call DROP. And when you do that, it's with the provision that you have a 5-year window then to continue working. They effectively treat you as you're retired. So your retirement benefits become locked in, if you will. And then for that 5-year period, FRS considers you in that retirement stance. And then after 5 years, or whenever you decide to formally retire, but you have to do it in the 5th year, they then turn over those funds to you as an investment. So I entered DROP when I became my 30-year eligible. I was 60 at the time, so I met the requirement at least of the 30 years. And I have to retire as of the end of June of this year. So I've been preparing for this. I've spent more than half of my life here, which is hard to say, but Martin County's been good to me. There's been difficult times, no doubt, but I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish here as an organization. And so I think I've put together a really good team. And my recommendation to move forward, if the board is comfortable with the way the organization is and the direction that we've been taking, that we would keep the course and Don Donaldson, I'm recommending as, he's your deputy county administrator. He's been doing that for over 5 years. He's been with us for over 20, I think almost 25, 26 years now. And Don has worked with the organization. He understands the organization. He's taken on some big challenges as well. I could not have done this by myself, and I apologize. I've just been very fortunate. And not everybody gets to say that. Huh?
Why don't we pause there for a second?
Let us gush on you a little bit.
Yeah, let us gush on you.
First off, I want to be clear that this is not your last day.
No.
You know, that you'll...
Even though you got the Christmas ornament this morning, that's
Yeah.
not
that you'll be staying through at least the halfway point of this year.
Yes.
Which gives us all sort of a chance to go through the process. I just wanted to take a couple of moments to, it's... Ms. Krista just is a very professional person and not one for taking credit. And normally the best leaders are exactly that type of philosophy. She brushes over the fact that she's got 30 years with the county. Now, I always say the same thing, people that were fortunate enough to be born and raised here and stay here, and those of us that were smart enough to find this place and move here, we always brag on how great Martin County is. But what people have to then take into consideration is the fact is, why is it so great? Now, we have natural beauty and we have terrific residents and schools and not-for-profits and things like that. But in every community, it's the county government that quietly does the work. And normally, you only notice when things don't go well. And so there's not a lot of opportunity for individuals that literally labor in their careers in municipal government to get the accolades and the recognition that they deserve. It's not until something goes wrong where people show up and start yelling. And I think we've been very fortunate here that we haven't had a lot of those experiences. Just think what's happening in other communities, whether it's financially, medically, environmentally, societally. We don't have those issues here, and we're all fortunate. But there is a team of thousands of employees, City of Stewart, Sewell's Point, Jupiter Island, Indiantown, Ocean Breeze, that are all working collaboratively to make Martin County great. And my point there is that it's the leaders of those organizations that do it. We get a lot of the credit as the commissioners, as elected officials, but literally, we come and go. And the steady kind of hand at the till is you. And I was fortunate enough to be here when you were an assistant county administrator, and we had a change. And, I feel one of my best accomplishments is participating in that change that brought us you, at least to the leadership position. And through that time, whether it was you took over to give a brief history lesson just as the recession was kicking in. And at the time, we didn't realize what it was going to be, how deep it would go, where the bottom was. And you eased us through that very difficult time where other communities struggled and some failed. So you came in what they're now calling the Great Recession, and then you navigated the community through and the team through majority changes, and majority on the board means philosophy changes. And you are professional enough that if a majority of the board wants the direction of the community to go one way, you said, okay. You gave counsel, but if the majority is the majority, and you've been very good about that, and then the majority pendulums back the other way, and you don't miss a beat, and you go right into that new philosophy. That's got to be difficult, because we all talk about you being the leader of the boss, if you will, of the commission and the county, but you have 5 other bosses, and and I know there's an expression about herding cats and things like that, and you've done it remarkably well.
Thank you.
Made most of us feel that that we were being understood and appreciated and valued and acknowledged. Then you go into a global pandemic, and a lot of communities, obviously globally, try to invent new strategies. There was no book for what's happening, what began happening and what is continuing to happen. And you very carefully maneuvered us through that. And I think our community is better off for your leadership in that regard, but also safer and healthier because of the steps that you implemented. And some were criticized on different things, but you led with a firm hand that people understood this is what it's going to be, but not so much to the point that if you realized it should be different, you didn't change it up if you needed to. And then to pivot to Mr. Donaldson, I'm a very firm, in my whole career, most of it spent in large corporations, conglomerates, multi-billion-dollar companies. And then in my own small businesses, my dad always told me that the most difficult thing about being in business is managing your employees. In every regard, how much do they get paid? How do you give them benefits? How do you lead them? How do you treat them? But my biggest philosophy is hire from within. If you have bench strength, and shame on organizations if they don't have bench strength, because that's what they should be always putting together is a bench. But to hire from within, from the community's point of view, saves tremendous tax dollars because there's no searching, there's no flying people in and out, there's none of that. From just a logistical point of view, when you bring in, and not that it doesn't work in every single case, but if you bring people in from other areas, there's a long learning curve, and different individuals have different lengths of a learning curve. But hiring from within, you don't have that. Excuse me, you don't have that. The person already knows what they're into. They know the people. They know our legal department. They know growth management, and especially in Martin County, when there are so many moving parts and so many people in the community that are very involved, it's very difficult to bring leaders in from far away, because it takes such a long time to know all of the players. And we didn't have to do that with you. You're the perfect example of hiring from within, as well as the fact that when we did that in 2008-9, you also eliminated basically your own position. You did both, and then continued to do that. So there was tax savings there. Then 5 years ago, when we had the opportunity where there was some transition, a couple of key players left. And I remember meeting with you, and we talked about it, because I think there was an article in the paper that sort of said, oh, what's happening at the county? People are leaving. And you and I had a conversation, and I said, this is a golden opportunity for you to now craft a team of your leaders to develop your own bench strength. And we did, and you did. And by picking Don Donaldson, who obviously has his own track record of success here, and not as long as you, but still over 2 decades of experience, which in government is nearly unheard of, especially at the top. I mean, what's the life expectancy of a county administrator? And you have literally smashed that record.
The longest one prior was 8 years.
And you're 11. Yeah. And there's a reason that no matter what the majority of the board was, that you got that level of support. Because I think even commissioners understand that you have the support of our community. You have the support of our staff. Any board would be foolish to get rid of you, because any other community would grab you up in a second. So I think part of our motion should be definitely at least a 20-year non-compete. No, I'm kidding about that. But I resoundingly make the motion to accept your recommendation that Don Donaldson become our next county administrator. He will follow along with your leadership style. It will be different, which is perfectly fine, but he will follow along and lead us as a staff, an organization, but of course, most importantly, as a community, and we can all be proud of him. And then I know that all of the other employees on your leadership team, all the way down to our newest employee, we all wish you a beautiful life and career after this. I hope that we won't see this will be the last of you. There's a lot of consulting you can do, a lot of information and institutional knowledge that I know you'll share with us. And I wish you all the best, and I thank you very much.
Thank you.
I yield the remainder of my time.
I don't know that there's any left.
I've been
Commissioner
thinking about
Heatherington.
this for a long time.
I'm sure.
There goes our record.
Yeah, right?
Well,
Only 9:46.
Firstly, I will second the motion very happily. And, there's not a whole heck of a lot to add. And, many of these folks have been sitting up here and here with you many more years. But when Commissioner Campy was talking, I was thinking of this past week, I've been unveiling my One Tough Mother calendar, which highlights strong women and strong mothers. And I couldn't think of more, the ultimate one tough mother than you. You're strong, compassionate.
I agree with that.
Yes, leader. And it's been my pleasure and my honor working with you. And I think that there's more we're going to work on together. And I wish you all the best in your next journey, and I look forward to having Mr. Donaldson step up, and I will gladly second the motion.
Thank you.
A lot of pressure over there, Don. Just a little.
Boy, Stacy, real chatty Kathy.
Well,
You said it all. It's hard to follow that.
There was a lot said in there. I agree with everything Ed said. It's been, when you spend as much time with the county attorney's office and the administrator's office that we do, it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot that happens, and I think probably what Ed said probably that strikes with me the most important. You've always been about creating the next leadership role, the next person, the next rock star team, and I do. I think about a lot of the decisions you've made through the years of who ought to be the right person in the right seat doing the right thing. And I've told you this 100 times. I mean, when you leave here, that's what you ought to go do. This sixth sense thing that you have about finding great talent. And,
Not always.
but really, I agree with Ed about the whole from within piece of all of this, that, we have great staff that, over the years, through your leadership, your training, and all the things that you and your team do to position the employees for the next role in their life has been remarkable to watch. And, just when you think sometimes, like, can we get any better, you pull off another move that is like, wow, that was really good, and I never thought about that, and that's a great talent, Taryn. And I think that legacy and the talent you have built around this building it does make us special. It makes us different. And, we also talk about the idea that we're small and lean, and you don't have a tremendous amount of fluff. That's because you have great people doing great things. And, I think of agenda items and how difficult it is for a staff to get down in front of the five of us, get grilled over an item if that's the way it ends up going, or questioned over a million things. And 99% of the time, they don't miss a beat. They've got all this institutional knowledge or all this talent that has been built in. And sure, that comes from the individual. There's a lot of that comes from, but it also comes from the leadership and the talent that set the stage for all of that to happen. And that's, by and large, a large part of you. And I think, again, that's what really makes this so hard, because it's been, it's interesting. If you think about it, we don't have to think too hard about this stuff. You've put in place such a great team, it's kind of seamless. And we talk a lot about, that we don't brag about what we do because that's not what we do, and we don't do that very well. And the best part about, I think, what you do, what we do, is that when there is a problem, it gets taken care of. And if we do it really well, people shouldn't even know how or why it happened. And that's what you're so good at. You have the right people and have put the right people in place to make sure that, if it's a disaster, if it's a pandemic, if it's a whatever it may be, you and your team are always prepared. And the bonus is, the guy that's following you has gone through so much of that with you and with us. He has it ingrained in him in the same level, in the same fashion. Which is why it makes the transition so much easier if there was an easy way to get through this. And again, Ed, I agree with you, not having to go outside, not having to do a search, not having to go through all that expense, because you have groomed and put together that team to follow on, is really special. And So I'm glad we have another, what is it, January, February, March, April, May, June, we have another 6 months
Yes.
to gush over you.
Oh, well, stop. I don't want that.
A lot of gushing.
A lot of
I
gushing.
really don't want that.
Which is really what's kind of weird about this agenda item, because you've set yourself up for 6 months of gushing.
Well, you like to embarrass me, and I appreciate that.
Well, it's not meant to be embarrassment. It's meant to be, we are incredibly proud and fortunate to have had your 30-plus years.
Thank you.
Because Martin County is absolutely a better place because of you. So,
Let this be the first of many.
Thank you, thank you. Please. Thank you. And some people, just to put it out there so that folks understand why I did the 6 months time frame, was because this is an election year, even though, no one has necessarily announced, but I did not want this to be an election issue. I ran into that problem back initially in 2010, where it seemed like people really wanted to focus on what the board was going to do with this position. And I really just want to remove that layer of complexity from anybody. So that's really why I'm giving you the 6 months, and get it out of the way and move forward.
Terrific.
and that, we would expect nothing less of you to think that way. So thank you for that. So we do have a motion, and we do have a second. Anybody from the public wish to comment on the motion, comment on the item? Ted, you're back there. You want to come in and say anything? No, he says, I'll wait for 6 months from now. Okay. Yeah, no, he's moving. Ooh,
7 seconds
ooh,
away.
yeah, come on, Ted. Take advantage.
I don't have my buzzer in front of me, so you're going to have to monitor yourself.
Well, we're finding a way to burn up the clock because clearly we were way too early.
So for the record, I'm Ted Ostolsky. I'm the CEO of the Economic Council, and so I'll talk again in 6 months, but I'll just very briefly tell you that I started in 1991 with the Economic Council, and Taryn was in the finance department. She's never left the finance department, by the way. She still oversees all the finances. This is why we run so efficiently, so cost effectively, is because it's on Taryn's watch. And it's, I congratulate her on making it so many years, Taryn, just in the county government, not to mention as county administrator. Happy for your retirement. Sad for us because we're losing you. We've always had a great working relationship, not always agreed, but always had a great working relationship. You've been a consummate professional the entire time, and I can't think of anybody better than you to be in this position, but happy that Don's willing to step up and take on that reign. So congratulations.
Thank you, Ted.
And, we're really proud of you.
I appreciate your support over the years.
Okay. Enough gushing for today?
Yes, thank you. Please.
Seeing nobody else from the public, we do have a motion, we do have a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously with Commissioner Jenkins absent. Taryn, thank you very, very much.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
The motion was to accept Ms. Krizda's recommendation that we elevate Deputy County Administrator.
Yeah, the way that's structured would be just that the board would direct staff to begin the process of that negotiations with Mr. Donaldson. I don't anticipate anything necessarily having to come to you before April or May timeframe, but it would just be to start that process. So the county attorney's office would take that on for you, and we would proceed accordingly.
I just wanted the public to be clear. I wanted to clarify the fact that you're not leaving.
No.
And there's a process, so it's just that our staff understands, Mr. Donaldson understands, the public understands that we have a succession plan in place 6 months prior. You've worked seamlessly together as it is, but I just didn't want people to think, like, what did this mean this morning? We just wanted to put this conversation to rest, and as you said, let staff work through the process. It's not a 6-month process, but and I know that Mr. Donaldson is here. Would you like to come forward, let people get an opportunity to say,
It's your turn. Get used to it.
Since we have time to gush.
Well, we really don't, but if you...
9:55.
Don Donaldson, Deputy County Administrator. First, it's awfully humbling to have my mentor recommend me for the position. I know this is an important for the board to make. It's an important position. You're county attorney and county administrator. It's also in my career, the only county administrator that I know that was able to retire on their own terms. So I think there's a lot of first for us here with Ms. Krista, and I think, as you stated, she has built a great team. Sort of like, the national championship was last night, and you have the Nick Saban and all of his coaches that have gone on to be victorious. And so I hope, like some of his mentoring, that I can follow along from Ms. Krista's guidance and education, that I can continue to make Martin County a winner as it's been and in the future. So again, thank you for your consideration, and thank you, Taryn.
Thank you, Don.
For mentoring me and believing in me.
Thanks.
Hang on. You got 4 minutes.
More than enough. Mr. Donaldson, obviously you've been a fixture and a familiar face for staff and commissions and people that come every day, but some of our public might not be aware. And the story, there's always going to be a situation where people say, well, why did they just hire from within? Why didn't they do a search? Can you give us a little bit about your background?
Certainly, I'm sure there'll be time to do further examinations of who I am and where I've come from. And but as a I think another thing that's unique of being a Floridian and graduated from a high school in Florida, like Taryn, so I grew up in West Palm and went to Florida Institute of Technology, actually right here in Jensen Beach. So, furthered my education. I never attained my master's degree, but I did attend for water resources and coastal engineering at the University of Florida and Florida Atlantic University. And through that time of being a coastal engineer, working for the Army Corps of Engineers and private practice for a number of years in Indian River County. And then I was recruited here by Peter Cheney, actually hired me. Then I went to work for engineering, now Public Works, and became their director.
Always engineering.
For a number of years, and I've been here I'm in my 26 years. I'll be in my 27th year starting next month. And also, due to my working relationship with Martin County, I've been able to, I think one of the things that Martin County has always supported in their staff is participating not only in community activities, but also our professional. I've served on the board of Florida Shore and Beach Preservation for a long time and been their chairman. As currently a resident of St. Lucie County, but not for long. In that, because of my location, was able to get an appointment by Governor Rick Scott to serve on the Florida Inland Navigation District, where I currently serve, and am their chairman of that entity. I'm a registered professional engineer, continue to maintain my licensure in that regard, and certified floodplain manager. And there's other things, but nonetheless, the point is that there's nothing to hide. I have been able to achieve a number of things based upon this board's support of mine and my staffs and Terrence's staffs. We have a number of staff that serve on community organizations, Loxahatchee River Preservation Initiative, and so many others that allow us to make Martin County a better place.
Mr. Donaldson, I appreciate.
Here we go.
One sentence, sir. You're tough. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We've been meeting for an hour, and we're about to adjourn. I wanted you to tell your history because the most important issue, I believe, in many, many Martin County residents is our environment, is water issues, whether it's water quality, water that comes out of the lake, tide issues, resiliency, stormwater retention, quality. You have a long, decades-long career in those areas. So not only will we get the advantage of your leadership skills and your team-building skills, but we'll get that vast knowledge of the environmental issues that you bring with you. Ms. Krista came out of finance and brought a wealth of knowledge and experience in finance. You are coming out of environmental and engineering, and we will gain all of that. And I just wanted people to understand very briefly who you were, and we'd also like to, I would at least, thank your wife and family, because I know that when you step into the top spot, there's a lot more responsibility in leadership at the head, as Ms. Krista had done very well, and I know you've started to do that. There'll be a lot of weekends and evenings and times where you'll have to be elsewhere, and so I wanted to say up front that we appreciate your family and thank them.
Good stuff. Anybody
Yes.
else?
But you do bring up a good point. Family is, yeah, you do, and so I should say that publicly. I'd like to thank my family for their support over the years. They've had to make sacrifices as well. I've been fortunate to have an extremely supportive husband. And so I just can't go without thanking them because they help make me successful as well.
There'll be time for that.
Jeez.
I envision you on the back of
thank
the
you.
convertible with tickets falling down on you.
Lord. Okay.
Screaming.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the meeting. Commissioner Heatherington, any closing thoughts?
Public comment?
I'll get there when we're done with.
I do have two things I just want to make you aware of. One is South River, you know that we've been working on a traffic light and a dedicated turn lane into South River. At our recent MPO meeting, we had asked for, in front of South River on the turn indicator, a flashing beacon on the sign that just helps raise awareness. There is not yet a turn lane into, I guess we had southbound turn laning into South River. We have asked the DOT for that, and Martin County has said that we have one, and we will install it. And I thought I was going to have to ask for your help this morning in writing a letter, but it appears that DOT is going to allow us to install it, to expedite it. What would be a several-month process now, hopefully will be installed by the end of this month. And I reserve the right to come back to you if I do need a little support in a letter. So that was one of the things. And then Commissioner Campy mentioned this morning, and I won't go into detail because I know that it's under litigation. There was a resident and constituent, and there was some conversation about the salvage yard on Commerce. At one point, just for a little bit of history, they were trying to annex into the city of Stuart, and the city of Stuart, for whatever reason, decided not to annex that property. And I've had a number of meetings and conversations with the neighbors, been out there, growth management has been involved. So I know we don't get to talk to each other, but just for edification, there's been a long history and a lot of dialogue going back and forth to try to resolve some of those issues.
Sure, Campy.
Yes.
You all set?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Looking forward to 2022.
Commissioner Hurd.
I'm set.
Commissioner.
I just want to introduce our newest Assistant County Attorney, Sebastian Fox. He's over in what George Stokas calls the penalty box. He's a native Floridian, and we couldn't be more happy to welcome him aboard. He'll be doing a lot of our real estate transactions as well as some other assorted as assigned duties. So,
Fantastic. Welcome to the team.
Fantastic. Ms. Chris, anything else? Last words?
One more thing.
I have nothing more to add. Anybody from the public wish to close out the meeting this morning? You were lurching, Joe. No? Okay, with that, I don't know that it's a record one way or the other, but
10:30 was our last record. It's ridiculous.
we have finished all the business of today, and there will be plenty more gushing to come in the future, Ms. Krista, so thank you. With that, we are adjourned.